What's up, guys? Welcome to Mangoes and Whales. My name is Greg, and here is another average player's guide to Dark Matter video. And this series is of course for those of you who would love to achieve greatness by means of the Dark Matter Camo in Black Ops 3, but maybe you're not the greatest Call of Duty player of all time. I sure as hell am not either, so I'm right there with ya. But anyway, this is episode number 8 in this series, and this one is on the pistols. And the last episode was also on the pistols, but in that one I went over the long shots, or the ardent camo. And in this one I'm going over the 5 kill streaks, which you need for the Chameleon camo. So what you're watching in the clips are 3 5 kill streaks with the MR6, and then 2 with the RK5, and finally just 1 with the LCAR9. And I wanted to show 2 streaks with each gun, but unfortunately my Elgato has been fucking up lately. So I was only able to capture 1 clean clip with the LCAR9, so I'm so sorry about that, but hopefully we'll be able to make do. So let's go ahead and jump right into the tips, and I'm going to start off with some perk recommendations, and I have quite a few. I'm going to kick it off with Ghost, which is just going to keep you off the UAV, and then we've got Sixth Sense, which is going to allow you to check through walls and check around corners without actually poking your head out and blindly rushing in. Up next, we've got Hardwired, which is going to prevent you from dying by stupid shit like trip mines when you're flanking your enemies and is trying to sneak up behind them. And then Awareness, which is kind of like the auditory version of Sixth Sense, and it's just going to provide even more additional intel for you. And then finally, let's round it off with either Blast Suppressor or Dead Silence, whichever you prefer. I think I was mostly rocking with Blast Suppressor, but if I had to do it over again, I would probably choose Dead Silence. One other perk I want to throw out there is Scavenger, but I only recommend using that if you are using either the RK5 or the LCAR9 and you're not using extended mags. Now with those 2 guns, it's really easy to run out of bullets before you can actually finish off 5 kills in one life. It happened to me several times. I'd be on a 4 kill streak and I'd be out of bullets, and it's pretty fucking frustrating when that happens because there's really nothing you can do. So that's why you put on Scavenger, or extended mags. And honestly, I would probably choose extended mags over Scavenger, but they both work. And the reason why I would like extended mags a little bit more is because that also has the added benefit of allowing you to go a little bit longer before you reload. But maybe you're working on, at the same time, you're working on the challenge that requires you to get kills with no attachments, and that's why, or that's when, it'd be a great idea to use Scavenger when you're using the RK5 or the LCAR9. So yeah, that actually is a pretty good segue into my next little topic on attachments. As you can probably tell, I really like the ELO sight. I just think it's super clean, beautiful. It just, I don't know, it makes things so much easier. So I highly recommend using that. And then with the MR6, you could probably go with High Caliber, which is just going to be great for those lovely 2-shot headshots. Or you could do Long Barrel if you want to increase your range a bit. But like I was saying, with the RK5 or the LCAR9, I think extended mags is going to be your go-to attachment. And then if you've still got a little bit of room on your class, then maybe you could put on like a Long Barrel for those guns as well. Alrighty, so let's move on to my specialist recommendation. I'm going to wholeheartedly recommend using Rejack. And if you don't know why, I would definitely check out my Rejack tip video, which I'll have a link somewhere on the screen to that. I actually end up using the MR6 in that video as well, so it's kind of perfect. But you'll see how helpful Rejack is for when you're going for Chameleon, if you watch that video. But yeah, other than that, if you're just like, nah, fuck it, I don't feel like using Rejack, then you could also use Heatwave, which could get you a nice little free kill on someone that you've Heatwaved, or Vision Pulse, which is great when you're using a close range weapon like a pistol. So as far as the playstyle goes, it's going to be kinda stealthy and also at times kinda campy. And remember, this is the average player's guide to Dark Matter, and sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And if that means camping in a corner when you're on a 4 kill streak in order to get that 5th one, then so be it. Remember, you're not here in order to make friends with players on the opposing team. You're here to get Dark Matter. And so sometimes it's just a whatever it takes type of mindset. And so minimizing your movements when you're using a pistol can be a very effective strategy. However, it's important to also be aware of when it is time to go. And that's going to come down to minimap awareness, basically being able to interpret things like team support, as well as being able to predict the enemy spawn and enemy movements based on where your teammates are. And if you're in a spot where you can predict enemy movements and you know where they're going to be challenging you from, and you have good team support covering your back, that's usually an indication that you can kind of stick around if you want to. However, when things start to change and your team support dwindles, and you're not exactly so sure where enemies might approach you from, that's usually a good indication that it's time to get out of there as quickly as possible. And when you do need to move through the map, remember what it was like to move through the map with a shotgun, because the effective range of a pistol is kind of similar to a shotgun in Black Ops 3. However, one thing I will say about using a shotgun is you can often get away with challenging an enemy head-on, whereas with a pistol, it's not such a good idea. So you're going to have to be even more cautious as you move through the map when you're using a pistol. So, one thing I recommend getting in the habit of doing is planning out where you want your next gunfight to happen. And it needs to be someplace that you can get to before any opponents get there, but also make sure it's realistic that an opponent will actually soon be there. And the reason why you want to get there first is so that you can get ready for that gunfight to happen. Basically, the situation that you want is one where you can expect an enemy to come along, but they don't necessarily expect you to be there. And usually this will end up in you shooting first, and usually that means that you'll win the gunfight. And this is a strategy that works really well when you're going for streaks with any gun, but especially when you're using something like the pistols. Alright, so I've got one more clip for you, and as promised, it is with the LCAR-9, and I'm going to do my best just to walk you through it. So, here we go. You'll definitely notice that I take full advantage of the Sixth Sense and Awareness perks here, but beyond that, I'm just trying to get myself into a good map position where I can have the advantage in a gunfight because I know where enemies are likely to be pushing up from, and I can be ready for gunfights before they are. So I have a pretty good idea there's going to be a guy right here, and there he is, and he wasn't ready for me at all, so that was a nice easy kill. Now I see some red dots on the minimap, and I know that this guy's pushing up, and he doesn't know that I'm over here, so he's a perfect target to shoot at as well. Alright, now I know that there's still a sniper up in the top of this building, because he's showing up big time on the minimap, but I don't want to just jump in that window. Instead, I'd rather sneak up behind him, so first I gotta check to make sure that it's safe, and then I'm gonna go ahead and shoot him in the back as well. And now I don't just want to push in toward the enemy spawn because, you know, I don't know exactly where enemies are. Instead, I'm going to let my teammate make that mistake, and he's going to pay for it. And instead, I'm just going to rotate over here where I can be ready for my next gunfight. And I see some smoke go out, so I don't want to really get involved with that. Instead, I'm going to see a guy over here, and I'm going to kind of make him chase me. And that way I can shoot him before he's ready to deal with me. So there we go. We got the Bloodthirsty. So anyway, I hope this video helped you out. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, which will be on the combat knife. And I'll catch you later, guys. Have a great rest of your day.